job.
At General Motors at the time, they was not hiring black folks. And the first people they hired was women, because they didn't want them black men. They was hiring mostly women. It's called the live wire division of the auto industry.
That's Packard Electric.
Packard Electric, okay. Most of the wires, like copper, Packard Electric was a larger consumer of copper wires, okay, went in all the vehicles, not only General Motors, but General Motors is number one because they specialized in that. That's how they came to number one. And most of that came out of the Mahoning Valley because of the Packard Electric people, okay. So when we was able to, because they knew us who we was, okay, but they started hiring people just before they built Lordstown, for General Motors, all right? So we was able to go to General Motors headquarters up there and talk to them about hiring black people, okay? And they was always progressive. Detroit was in the forefront of civil rights movement, even ahead of Cleveland at the time, except for politics, that's another story. But in business, they was much far ahead of us. So, because that goes back to Henry Ford, the first automobile, the first assembly line, okay? When first real black middle class was in Detroit, because they went to work on that assembly line making money, and Henry Ford was hiring them and more than making down south in them cotton fields and so forth. So it's the evolutionary thing, how did all that come about. So during that time, and I was always into black history, and I read about this thing. I was kind of progressive, I was kind of ahead of my time. And I read and see what the other major cities were doing. So some of the things we saw, what they were doing, we brought that back to the city. And a few educated people, professional people, like both of our attorneys, Attorney Robertson and Attorney Breckenridge, I can't mention one without the other. They complemented one another, okay? Eventually, Robertson came here from Pittsburgh. He had been a Marine, and he went to college and went to law school. He was the first black lawyer prominent here in Cleveland, okay? Breckenridge, in Warren, Ohio. But Breckenridge he's military too. He came out and he worked for a while in the mill, then he went to school and got a license as an accountant, and he became a CPA, okay?
So how were you able to get so many black people hired at Packard Electric?
Well, through our activism, okay, it really came out of the NAACP. That's what I was chairman of the employment committee, okay? So we went out to all the plants, Van Huffel and Copperwell and Republic Steel and all those major companies.